So we were talking a little bit about like, all the other types of money that existed and stuff like that. But, I've got this cool piece I wanted to show off a little bit just because we were talking a little bit about bullion too. And it's kind of hard to show you because it's super heavy to lift, but this is a gold bar from a shipwreck, the SS Central.
No way.
Yep. You're
Shipwreck.
familiar with the shipwreck?
I'm not familiar with the shipwreck, but I'm familiar with how much shipwreck gold and silver is actually worth.
Yeah, big money, big money. But this particular shipwreck was pretty wild. It happened off the coast of like the Carolinas, and I forget the total amount of people that died, but I think it was something like 400. I want to say 420 people passed away on that shipwreck. It was a Category 2 hurricane that basically off the coast of the Carolinas that just beat the ship up. And
What year was this?
1857. Yeah, 1857. And thankfully, there's over 100 women and children got saved into lifeboats and sent on. And then there was another ship that came I think 3 days later, I want to say, but don't quote me on it, and rescued another 50 or so people. But yeah, 400 plus people perished in that shipwreck. And years later, in like the 80s, there was a guy that went in and had investors treasure hunting, trying to find gold, and found this shipwreck and uncovered about 5% of what was supposed to be on there. It was called like the Ship of Gold at the time because there was so much gold that was lost on this ship. And he ended up, long story short, he was shorting his investors. He didn't pay people back. He fled the country with his assistant, and he got extradited years later in like the 2000s or something like that. And they basically said, you owe these people $18 million or something like that. And he couldn't pay him. He cried. He said, oh, I'm going to give you like 5,000 gold coins or something to that effect. And he just flaked and said, I don't have the gold coins and blah, blah, blah. But this particular bar is 128 ounces.
Oh my gosh.
So,
and gold is like 1,800 an ounce.
Yeah, it went down a little bit this week. It's at 1,750 last time I checked. But yeah, it's stupid money. And at the time, this was $2,300 in value. So that's basically an ounce and 1.6 ounces or something like that today. But yeah, this is just a massive bar. So
story and all, what is that worth?
We're gonna offer it to some of our distinguished clients first. Usually when we get a piece like this, it's like we send an email out to about 30 to 50 of our top buyers of this kind of material. And it's a first come, first serve. Whoever responds first, basically, or calls our president on the company gets it. But I think we're going to offer it probably around $375 will be about what we offer for the gold. The melt value is about $230,000 or $240,000, but because of obviously shipwreck and all of that, carries a big premium. So
speaking of shipwrecks, obviously the most famous being the Titanic. I know some coins have been discovered, or rather, unearthed from the shipwreck, or have come off of survivors, like have come out of their pockets when they got out safe. Have any of those ever come through your auctions or your shops?
Yeah, there's been a lot of Mexican and Panamanian gold that has come about, and those, they always carry premiums, but they are really hard to authenticate because a lot of this stuff was also just commonly issued in the areas. So it's like, oh well, this is from the shipwreck. Well, is it really? Do we know that for sure? But there are some that do carry a provenance that shows that it's from the shipwreck, and when it does do that, it does carry a bit of a premium. So those are always sought after. The multiple of what a shipwreck coin is versus what the regular version is it's kind of hard. It's a bit of the story and how strong that story is. And like anything, if you're a Carolina guy and you love gold, this story pertains to you with the SS Central America. But if you're a guy from Texas and you don't like the Carolinas, then maybe you're not as intrigued by it. So like anything, it's, well, how much will someone pay for it? If we were to put this in auction and there were two guys that wanted it, it might fetch more than what we're asking for. And that's the name of the game. It's like, well, what's the best way to do it, etc. But pieces like this we get every so often, not usually this heavy. Usually it's like 30 ounces or 20 ounces or something, and we auction those off. But we wanted to do something cool, and we've had a cool year, so we just thought it might be a nice thing to just throw out there and see what happens. So in the event we somehow can't sell it privately, we'll end up auctioning it, and we'll just let the chips fall where they may. But usually something like that, we'll start it at melt and it'll go from there.